It's easy to assume that all baby animals are cute and resemble their parents, especially with the countless videos of adorable kittens and puppies on YouTube. However, some animal offspring can be quite peculiar and look like they belong to a different species altogether. In this article, we will explore some of the weirdest babies in the animal kingdom. Number 20. Damascus Kids. When you see the kids of Damascus goats, it's hard not to find them cute with their long, floppy ears and goofy expressions. However, some people believe that they retain their cuteness even when they are fully grown, but this argument falls apart when you see how they look like as adults. They have an unnerving appearance with overhanging foreheads, long necks, and prominent underbites that create a stark contrast to their adorable younger selves. These goats are highly valued for their superior milk, which is why they are popular in their homelands of Cyprus, Lebanon, and Syria. However, we should avoid giving these young goats false hopes about a possible future career in modeling. Number 19. Pangopups. Easily mistaken for walking pine cones, pangolin babies, or pangopups are bizarre creatures that can be found in the forests and grasslands of Africa and Asia. These pups are born with soft, pink scales that harden after 24 hours and sharp clawed feet. Pangopups live purely off their mother's milk for their first few months of life and ride on their mom's tail like a tiny monkey dinosaur. During feeding, or if pangolins sense danger, they wrap themselves around their babies, protecting their tiny, softer bodies. Talk about protective parenting. Number 18. Aardvark Cubs. Aardvark Cubs are found all over sub-Saharan Africa. At first glance, they look like a strange combination of a rabbit, a kangaroo, and a pig with an unusually long tail. They are named after the Afrikaans term for earth pig. When they are 2 weeks old, they start accompanying their mothers on late-night foraging trips. This is where they learn how to use their claws and snouts, which have nostrils that can close, to dig for ants and termites. Despite their unique shovel-like claws, it's still hard work. Number 17. Baby Flamingos. As a bright pink bird, flamingos stick out wherever they're found, be it in South America, Africa, or India. But their young stick out even more with fluffy, gray feathers, stumpy beaks, and strange, leathery legs. Flamingo babies eventually acquire their pink color from their parents, though not from genetics. Flamingos, both male and female, produce milk in their throats, which comes out bright red. This is due to their diet of blue-green algae and crustaceans. When digested, these cause red pigmentation in fats, which are deposited around the flamingos' bodies. As the babies drink this, they begin to turn pink, with the first tints appearing around 3 months into their lives. Eventually, the young develop distinctive curved bills, which allow them to filter out their food. Until then, they rely on their parents, and oddly sap some of their parents' color in the process. Kids really are draining. Number 16. Gray Seal Pups. Have you ever wondered why seal pups have such striking white fur compared to their parents' stone gray skin? It turns out that the white fur of gray seal pups has an interesting evolutionary history. Like many animals, soft and unpigmented hair helps seals retain heat while they build up blubber during their initial few weeks of life. But why white fur when it provides such terrible camouflage in their habitats of pebbly beaches? Well, in the previous ice age, when seal pups evolved this trait, white fur would have protected the pups from predators in their icy, white habitats, helping them blend in and avoid detection. With their now defunct leftover evolutionary traits, gray seal pups are simply rocking the finest prehistoric vintage, choosing prettiness over practicality. Number 15. Falabella Foal. When you consider the fact that the tallest horse in the world is almost 7 feet tall, the tiny frame of the Falabella Foal seems impossible. Averaging between 21 and 34 inches tall as adults and around 10 inches as foals, these miniature horse foals are closer in size to dogs than regular horses. The foals of this Argentinian breed have adorably large heads, with a stout frame and spindly little legs, but as adults they grow into the same proportions as regular horses. They'll sit on your lap, but best you avoid saddling these fellas up for a ride. Number 14. Hippo Calves. Hippopotamuses are intriguing creatures, and their offspring add an adorable twist to their peculiar nature. These chubby, whiskered water cow calves typically tip the scales at 50 to 100 pounds right after birth. Sporting short legs, they paddle through the water to stay close to their mothers. Remarkably, they can seal their nostrils and ears to nurse underwater without the need to come up for air. As you might notice, even the youngest hippos begin to practice their formidable bites early on. Of course, the nip of a baby hippo is far less intimidating than the powerful jaws of the adult members of this impressive African species. Number 13. Baby Platypus. When the first platypus specimen was brought back from Australia to British authorities in 1798, it was widely presumed to be a hoax. It's understandable, especially when you take a look at this web-footed, duck-billed creature's babies. Platypuses are an oddity, and their chubby babies are even weirder. Platypuses are one of two mammals on Earth, alongside echidnas, that lay eggs. When they hatch, a platypus is roughly the size of a haricot bean, and it nurses for several months on milk that oozes from its mother's abdominal pores. After around 5 months, these babies begin to shed the baby weight and learn to swim and hunt for themselves outside of the burrow. They never grow out of their identity issues, though, and still insist that their duck-like features are not a phase, mom. Number 12. Newborn panda cubs. When we think of pandas, we imagine a bear with black and white fur in a bamboo forest in China. However, newborn pandas are quite different and resemble more of a naked mole rat than a bear. They weigh only a few ounces at birth and have small white hairs all over their pink bodies. These cubs cannot walk until they reach 3 months old, so their mothers carefully carry them. Though it might appear concerning at first, pandas can safely carry their young in their jaws. Panda mothers are extremely cautious with their offspring, which is crucial since they are very vulnerable. Even after several months of age, panda cubs cannot defecate without their mother's guidance. This fact caused many panda cubs to die of constipation while in captivity before we discovered how to prevent it. Panda parents must feel completely exhausted. Number 11. Dumbo Octopus. Resembling a certain Disney elephant in pink, these octopus babies are the deepest living of all known octopuses, living more than 13,000 feet under the sea. Hatching at only half an inch across, these tiny little creatures develop everything they need while inside their eggs, including the ear-like fins they use to swim. After hatching, they're ready to go, but also have an internal yolk sac to provide nutrients while they hunt their first meal. With no parental assistance, these strange octo babies are, literally, thrown in at the deep end. Number 10. Baby lumpsuckers. Contrary to what it might look like, this isn't a piece of nose candy. It's a baby lumpsucker fish. These tiny swimmers, no bigger than a fingertip, are ready to start hunting even tinier crustaceans and fish when they're just 10 days old. They're equipped with round pelvic fins that act like suction cups, allowing them to adhere to various surfaces. In their first year, they often cling to rocks or hover near the ocean floor. As they grow, they venture into open waters more frequently, reaching sizes between 1 and 21 inches, depending on the species. Quite impressive for something that resembles a booger. Number 9. Baby skates. If you've ever wondered where mermaids keep their cash, here's your answer. Baby skates emerge from these peculiar pouches known as mermaids' purses and closely resemble stingrays with legs. Each pouch, which is made of a fingernail-like material, houses a singular skate embryo and is hooked to allow it to cling on to seaweed or other surfaces. Once the baby skate emerges, it's fully formed, albeit a little small, usually around 5 inches long. Though I'd like to say they're as hilariously expressive as they look, the eyes on its underside are actually nares, which work similarly to nostrils. These allow the baby skate to smell and find food, but you can pretend they're eyes if you really want. Number 8. Baby axolotl. Upon hatching, Mexican axolotls are tiny, measuring barely half an inch and sporting a translucent appearance that makes their internal organs visible. They emerge with distinctive crown-like gills adorned with long filaments to enhance gas exchange. These feathery crowns remain with them for life, and they begin hunting live prey even before their limbs start to develop. Around 10 days post-hatch, axolotls begin to sprout legs, but it takes about 18 months for them to fully mature. With a leg here and an arm there, this amphibian takes a laid-back approach to growth. However, they do have a peculiar habit of cannibalizing their siblings, which is anything but relaxed. Number 7. Hummingbird Chicks. Hummingbirds are fascinating as adults, but their babies are even more so. Hummingbird eggs are the smallest in the world, at about the size of a baked bean. Once they hatch, the minuscule birds, which weigh about half as much as a pen cap, slowly open their eyes and begin to grow feathers. Around a month later, they begin to leave the nest and fly, despite resembling little more than a fluff ball with a strange, darting tongue. Number 6. Ladybug Larvae. Ladybug larvae are a stark contrast to their round, charming adult counterparts, appearing almost unrecognizably fearsome. These larvae emerge from their eggs 4 days after being laid and waste no time in feasting on everything in their path, often devouring dozens of aphids or other soft-bodied pests in a single day. After about a week of relentless feeding, the larva attaches itself to a leaf, where its back splits open to reveal the pupa. Within a few days, a fully formed ladybug emerges, allowing us to erase the memory of the eerie creature that preceded it. Number 5. Larval Sunfish. In its larval stages, the already peculiar sunfish has spiny features and dark rings around its eyes, making it look like some kind of deep space pufferfish. Despite reaching a length of up to 14 feet in adulthood, these larvae hatch at roughly the size of a pinhead and can be found in tropical waters around the globe. These tiny babies find safety in numbers, with schools of relatives emerging from around 300 million eggs in each spawning, the largest number of any vertebrate. Exactly how many hatch, however, is unknown. These tiny, Christmas ornament-looking larvae will eventually lose their spines, absorb their yolks, and metamorphose into the heaviest bony fish in the world. Number 4. Echidna Puggles. Puggles, with undoubtedly the cutest name of the century, are spiny mammals that hatch from eggs, much like platypuses. These bizarre creatures are native to Australia, and like kangaroos, their young ones are kept in a pouch on their abdomens. After hatching, the tiny puggle spends the first 50 days inside the pouch, nourished by the milk secreted by its mother. When the puggle starts to grow spines, its mother moves it into a burrow to continue feeding. It's not easy carrying a ball of spikes in your pocket after all. Number 3. Adolescent barn owls. With huge black eyes, skinny legs, and uncanny movements, it's easy to see how these young owls could be mistaken for aliens. After hatching, these ghostly night stalkers spend 10 weeks depending on their parents, growing out their feathers and emitting terrifying shrieks like this before beginning to learn to hunt silently. I'll take silent, murderous adult over ugly, screaming teenager any day. Number 2. Jellybean Joeys. Newborn baby kangaroos are incredibly tiny, measuring just over half an inch. At this stage, they barely resemble the furry, pouch-dwelling creatures they grow into. These minuscule babies crawl out of one of their mother's 2 uteri and climb up her body into the safety of her pouch. The pouch is essential because joeys are undeveloped compared to most other newborn mammals. They spend around 9 months in the pouch before finally hopping out into the world, once they've developed fur, eyesight, and all the other things that are necessary for survival. Number 1. Newborn Kea. The kea is a large parrot species that is native to New Zealand. When they are newly hatched, they have a very distinct appearance that might not be considered particularly attractive. The chicks have bright yellow coloring around their eyes, beaks, and nostrils, and their delicate bodies are covered in fluffy white down. As a result, they look like they have just had a rough night out on the town. However, by the time they are between 10 and 13 weeks old, their feathers begin to grow out properly. Despite their rather unappealing appearance, predators are not deterred, and kea chicks are at risk of being preyed upon by a variety of animals, including rats, possums, and stoats. As a result, only 27% of them survive into adulthood. However, those that do make it to adulthood undergo a remarkable transformation, becoming vibrant, intelligent, and curious creatures. What is the strangest baby animal? Do you know any baby animals that even their mothers couldn't love? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.